Hey everyone, welcome. It's Carrie from Carrie's Wreath Creations. How is everyone doing today? I'm going to give people a chance to find us real quick and pull us up here on my screen. Give me just 1 second here. I've been trying to figure out how to get links to show up in my lives, and just for whatever reason, no, that's not it. I don't know where they go because I put them in and then I'm supposed to click show once I'm live and I don't see them anywhere. So I don't know what's up with that. But anyways, whatever. But thanks for joining me. Glad you are here. Thanks for saying hi. Let me know where you're watching from today. If you've seen me before or if this is your first time, welcome to everyone. So I'm Carrie from Carrie's Wreath Creations. I am located just outside of Charlotte, North Carolina. I live in Concord. I am a military spouse. I am a full-time remote employee. I work for a kidney dialysis company. So this is my side hustle, my hobby, something I like to do in my free time. So if you're new to my page or you're watching on YouTube later on and you're new to my channel, that's just a little bit about me. I have a couple of dogs that occasionally walk by while I'm doing my lives, so you might see them. All right, so well, thank you for joining me. Thanks for letting me know you're here and telling me where you're from. I always like to see where I'm getting people where you're all at. So, Lockport, New York. So my parents are actually in Lancaster. I grew up in that area in Buffalo. So shout out to Buffalo. So sorry, I gotta move my mouse because otherwise it's highlighting people's names. Okay, cool. Well, thank you for joining me. So today what we're going to be working on is a wreath that's going to be made of all ribbon except for the center, of course. And so if you're new to wreath making or you've watched before, I'll tell you what you need to do to get started. I have one that's already been prepped and I have some work done on it just to make it go a little bit faster. Hey Gina, hello to everyone. So we're going to be working with a small Unique in the Creek wreath board. Okay, so these are bought from, there's a couple of suppliers. Obviously, Unique in the Creek sells them, and I am an affiliate for them. So if you go to the pinned post on my Facebook page, you can follow the link there and buy these. You can also buy them from places like Craft Outlet. There's a couple other suppliers. There's some Etsy shops that sell them. I don't want to rattle them all off because I'll probably miss a few. I know there are some distributors in Canada as well as the UK and Australia, but these are the authentic Unique in the Creek boards. I do not use the ones from the Dollar Tree. Those are not the same quality, nor do they have the holes in the same place or anything like that. So I don't recommend those just because they're not the authentic ones. You're going to not be able to follow the tutorials with those because things will not line up the same way. So if you've never seen one before, this is what they look like. This is a small board. It's labeled rows 1, 2, 3, and 4. For this wreath, we're going to be working on just rows 2, 3, and 4. If you wanted a little bit larger wreath, you could work on row 1. For this wreath in particular, I don't know that I would recommend working on row 1 because we're going to be doing loops of ribbon, and I just kind of worry that the loop would be a little bit too far off the board, if that makes sense. It's not going to have anything to kind of stabilize it. I mean, it might work out okay because if it's hanging on a door or wall, it's going to be propped up, but I don't know, you still get a pretty good size wreath without using row 1. So we're just going to do rows 2, 3, and 4. We are going to work with all of the pairs of holes as well as all the shared holes on rows 2 and 4, and then just the pairs on row 3. So I'll show you, I have the board preloaded. You're going to want to use zip ties with this. So that's the other materials you need, zip ties. I'm going to be working with 3 different types of ribbon. I have a 2.5 inch, it's all wired ribbon, really cute with little ladybugs and flowers. So we're going to use this. And then I also pulled this, I think it's, what is it? Is it gingham or gingham? I don't even know how to say it, but I have this, it's 1.5 inch. Since it matches the background of my ladybug ribbon. And then I also have just a solid red 1.5 inch. So all of my ribbon has been cut at 12 inches. So that's 1 foot. Okay. And before I go any further, I would just like to give a shout out to Lori from Unique in the Creek. She did do a wreath just like this, only on a large board last week, and I believe she called it the Rachel flower. So this is my interpretation of the Rachel flower just on the small board. I also have a center that's already been prepped. So this is just half of a styrofoam ball. So I buy I think they're like almost 4 inches. The whole ball from usually come in a 2-pack from, I found them at Hobby Lobby. I found them at Michael's. I've even seen them at Walmart. I think some Dollar Trees might have them. I'm not really sure. But basically, I just saw it in half, and then I just used this corded rope. It's been hot glued on. I use a couple of floral pins to secure it, and I buy this cord. I got this particular cord I got at Hobby Lobby, and then I have these cute little ladybugs that I just got it was just a whole pack of ladybugs and bees that I got from Amazon, and those have just been hot glued on, and then I attached a pipe cleaner with a floral pin. So that's already prepped. If you're interested in seeing how I do my flower centers, I do have a corded rope center tutorial that's on my YouTube. Okay, so let's get started. So as I said, I've already prepped my ribbon. It's all been cut at 12 inches, okay? And I've already actually done the first row, which is row 2 on the board. So I'm going to show you the back. So, before I go to the back, so I have all my zip ties preloaded onto rows 3 and 4. So to preload, you just put your zip tie in and just fasten until you hear one little click. Okay, so if we take a look at the back, it's actually kind of easier to see where all of our zip ties go, okay? And I apologize for those of you that are familiar with the boards, but I kind of wanted to make this a little bit more, let's just kind of go back to some of the fundamentals to explain what we do here. So row 1, as you can see, is completely empty. We're not putting anything there, okay? Row 2 is this row right here where I've already put my ribbon in. Okay, and so the pairs of holes are the ones that are closer together. Okay, so there's a total of 8. So I have a zip tie in those, and then I've also run a zip tie between that one hole that's part of the pair and then this one extra hole that's just on its own, and then from that one to the next one. So basically there's a zip tie connecting every hole. Okay, row 3, that'll be this one, just has the pairs. Okay, and then row 4, similar to what you see in row 2, except there isn't just this extra hole that's by itself. Here's a pair, here's a pair, here's a pair, here's a pair. So those are the ones that are closer together. So there's 4 pairs, and then I shared the holes between them. So just ran a zip tie between like that. So there's a zip tie going between every set of holes. Okay, so that's how I've loaded the board. Now, how did I put my ribbon in? Well, I have 3 kinds of ribbon that I'm using, and this is a really great wreath because it's very easy to do, and you could use, I'm using 3 ribbons. You could do 2. You could probably do more than that, and then you're just going to decide how you want it to be laid out. It's really pretty simple. So again, all the ribbons are cut at 12 inches, okay? And so what I chose to do for my pattern, and I'm gonna switch it up as I go through the wreath, but for the outside, I'm doing the ladybug ribbon, the red, and then this check, and then alternating, okay? So what I will tell you, and I promise then I'll stop talking and start working, what I will tell you is when you do this outside row here, okay, the space that we're working, so like for example in this, I have my 2.5 inch, the ladybug ribbon is in the actual pair of holes, okay, the ones that are close together, and then the red and the check are in the shared holes. So let me show you on the back. This is the ladybug, this is the red, this is the check. Okay, now what I will tell you is that the space between those holes where the red and the check are is like a little bit too big for just this 1.5 inch ribbon. Okay, when you're doing like a flower with poly burlap, usually that space is okay. But what I felt was like that was just, so you can see my ribbon isn't really even scrunched there that much because I can kind of spread it out, and I'll show you when I get to row 4 how I do that. But I felt like it was going to be too easy to just pull the ribbon right out of the zip tie. Okay, so what I did, and this is why I prepped this row ahead of time, I put a little dab of glue under every piece of ribbon just to make sure it's extra secure. So that way, because what I'm going to have to do at the end of this wreath, because as I work, these are going to get flattened and I'm going to want to fluff them. What I don't want to have happen is I fluff and I pull a little too hard and this comes right out. I don't want that to happen, okay? So I put that little dab of glue just for some extra security. You could also just run a line of glue over all the edges if you wanted, but I just kind of lifted it up and put a little dab just for extra security. Okay, so let's get started now. So now we are working on row 3, and we need a piece of ribbon in every pair of holes. I'm actually going to not use my ladybug ribbon for this, and I'm only going to do the red and the check for this. And you know, I just picked this pattern just the way that's just how I want it to look, and you can do whatever you would like. Okay, all you do is take your 12-inch piece of ribbon and you just, you know, fold it in half. You don't need to, you know, really fold it because we still want it to be, we want it to be fluffed. So don't, you know, you don't need to fold it. But all you want to do is just put the two ends together and then just do a little gather. Okay, just like this. Oops, pinch the end and put that into your zip tie. Now, I don't think it's going to really matter where I start because, no, it's not going to really matter. And I'm just going to alternate the red and the check for this row. And you know, there's another reason why I'm doing that is because the ladybug ribbon is actually the most expensive. And you know, this just saves you a little bit on materials. The check and the red are actually, those ribbons actually are, they came on 50-yard rolls. So they were a little bit more of like the, I guess, the value ribbon, if you will, but they're still pretty good quality. The wire is nice and firm and whatnot, so still pretty decent. Okay, so we're just going every other, and again, you're just taking your ribbon, just meet your two ends together, just do a little scrunch so that you can put it into the zip tie. And I feel like with these pairs of holes, this is going to be tight enough that it's not going to come out. I don't think I'm going to need to do any more gluing. I could always, if I decided wanted to go back and put a little dab to add some security there. I have no idea what my dog is doing. I don't know if you see him or, no, you can't really see him. I don't know what he's doing. It's always, when I do these lives, especially like in the summer now that it's, you know, it's 8 o'clock, after 8 o'clock here, but it's still light out. He's so confused because he just wants to still be outside. I'm like, dude, I got to go to work in the morning and I'm kind of tired and I just don't want to be outside anymore. But he would be out there as long as I let him. Yes, it's all wired ribbon. You would probably not want to do unwired ribbon for this because it'll just look kind of floppy. We're going to kind of fluff this out when we're done. Some of the ribbons are already fluffed. I'm kind of doing it as I go along, but as I keep working, they're gonna end up getting a little bit flattened. So I'll have to fluff them. So you want the wire in it so that it stays fluffed. Otherwise, it's just gonna kind of lay limp. So I don't think that'll work too well. Personally, for me, I know some people will try to do all kinds of, you know, oh, there's the other dog. Do all kinds of stuff with trying to make unwired ribbon work. You know, I've heard about putting fabric stiffener and even like hairspray. I'm like, no, I'm just gonna buy the stuff with wire because life is too short to be buying extra stuff to just spray all over everything. The ribbons are 12 inches, all 12 inches, and it's a combination of the 2.5, which is the ladybug ribbon, and the 1.5, which is the red and the check. Okay. See, we got some Scranton people here. Scranton, Poconos. I've seen a couple of those come up. Cool. All right, so that was row 3. Now for row 4, which is this inside part, remember we're doing the pair and the shared holes. Now I was playing around with what I wanted this to look like, and I think what I'm going to end up doing, I hope I'm not going to have too much space here. I wonder if I'm going to have to put a piece of ribbon between. I don't know if this is going to work. Let's see. I think this is going to work. I think it'll be full enough. I think what I'm going to do, I was going to just alternate like I did kind of similarly to what I did on the outside, but I think I'm just going to, trying to decide if I want to, since my center is black, I think I want more red towards the center. in this row. So I think I might just alternate the ladybug and the red on this. We're just gonna, I have enough cut where I can do that. So let's just see how that works. So again, you just take your ribbon, you just bring your two ends together and you just sort of give it a little scrunch at the end. And it's just really only like a fingertip that's going into your zip tie. So put that in there. Okay. And then let's put a red in next. So this is, I mean, this is a pretty simple wreath to put together. You know, you don't have to mess with poly burlap and doing the, having to worry about wood burning and fray and all that stuff that goes with making a flower wreath. Definitely worth it to learn how if you're interested. I have lots of tutorials on YouTube. But you know, if you could actually just do this like on your lap, sitting at a normal table. So yeah, I'm going to just alternate with the ladybug. I think I'm just going to stick with red here in the center. So then I get my pop of red, that last pop of red, and then the black is going to come from this center. I just don't want the center to look too dark. Okay. PA in the house. Yep, I feel like I see it. When I always look back at the comments on my lives and the replays. You know, some people probably don't realize I do go back and watch, or not watch, but I go back and look at the comments. And I feel like I always see, there's always a lot of people from Pennsylvania. And I see a lot of West Virginia as well. There we go. So yeah, I'm just going to do, and I'll tell you the total counts of how many pieces I used in just a second, if you wanted to kind of follow the same pattern, but you can't really do it wrong. I mean, I think the only way you would do it wrong is maybe putting just too many colors next to each other, maybe too many wild patterns. I don't know. I don't mind mixing patterns. I have a lot of ribbon. I used to do a lot more deco mesh wreaths. I still do them, but not nearly as much as I used to. And so because of that, I end up with like a ton of ribbon, and I'm always looking for different ways to use it, because I just don't make enough deco mesh wreaths to use up all the ribbon I have. And then also I mean, I do make bows and stuff, but I don't think I have an Etsy shop, and my shop, sometimes I have a bow that does really well and I sell a ton of them, and then other times they just kind of sit there. So I don't really, and the bottom line is I don't really sell enough bows to have a ton of ribbon. So I need something else to do with my ribbon. So that's why I came up with these you know, doing these ribbon wreaths. So this one, like I said earlier, I saw Lori from Unique in the Creek do this on a large board. I believe she called it a Rachel flower, and hers was bee themed. But it was similar. It had like the bees with, I think it had like a black and white polka dot. And so then she had a polka dot ribbon and a yellow. So it was very, kind of very similar to like the little recipe we're using here. This is a zip tie gun. If you've never seen it before, I do have an Amazon affiliate shop where you would find this, as well as things like the zip ties I use, scissors, the cutting mats, wood burning tool, like all kinds of stuff is in that Amazon affiliate shop. But this, what it does is it tightens and clips the zip tie all at once. And yeah, if you have a lot of ribbon, so there is another, I was just saying, I got sidetracked by my zip tie gun, but I have another ribbon wreath tutorial as well. If you go to my YouTube, or even I'm trying to remember which ones are on Facebook. I can't remember if they're on Facebook. I know they're on YouTube, but if you go, I actually just posted one very recently, and if it looks like it's red, white, and blue, like blue with white stars, and then red and white stripe, and it's all made out of ribbon as well. I would say the difference between the two, this is actually, I think, less cutting. It's still 40 pieces, because that one also includes 40 petals. You kind of make petals. It's just more cutting. You dovetail the ends. All the ends are exposed, so you dovetail them to make them look nice and all that stuff. So this was actually way easier to prep. because it's just 12-inch pieces, so that's a foot. You can measure that pretty easily. And then you just fold the ribbon in half. It's super easy. So anyways, now let's put our center on. So this has gone pretty quickly, as you can see. So I just want to, here's the top of my board, okay? You can see that it says Unique in the Creek right here. I also know it's the top because here are my two hanging holes. So I actually feel like I never do this on camera, so let's go ahead and do it. I have this fish line. It holds, well, it says 30 pounds. I mean, it's super strong. I've never had a piece break, but this is what I use to create my hangers. You can use a zip tie as well, or, you know, twine or whatever, but you just cut a piece. And what I do then is just, the board is from Unique in the Creek. So then you take your hanging holes. That would be these two. This is a pair of holes. You could, I'm not using them, so I could put the hanger through there if I wanted. I'll just go ahead and use the actual hanging holes. But I just feed this fish line through. And I do this on all of my wreaths, okay? I even do it on the ones with a wire frame. I do this loop of fish line because then when I store my wreaths, I take this, and then you just knot this, okay? It's pretty simple. I take this little hanger, okay? Oops, you can't see what I'm doing. I take this and I put it over the neck of a hanger, and then I hang them in a closet. That's how I store, okay? So I do that on my wireframe wreaths too, because my deco mesh wreaths are still in wireframes. Sorry, they are. I mean, they are. I have a ton of wireframes to use out before I move on to anything else. And like I said, I don't make deco mesh wreaths that much, but it's so much easier to store them that way. And that's how I transport them to craft shows. Okay, so here's the top of my wreath, and the reason I care is because I kind of did a little bit of a pattern with my ladybugs here. I kind of want them to look like they're like walking this direction. I don't know, that was just what I came up with. So when I put it on my wreath, I just want to make sure it's kind of laying the way I wanted it to. So that'd be like, yeah, and here's the top, so like right like this. So then all I do is put my put the pipe cleaner through an opposite pair of holes, okay, just like that. Pull it nice and tight, okay, flip it over. So as you can see, I went through just an opposite pair of holes, okay, and then I just give this a couple of good twists, okay. To finish it off, there's a couple things you can do. What I normally end up doing is I feed these through the zip tie like once, and then loop it back through, and then just kind of like twist it. Make sure that the little end of the pipe cleaner is just tucked behind so that there's, you know, nothing's gonna scratch your customer's door or anything like that. You could even cut these off. You could feed it back through the holes. You could put a piece of packing tape over it. There's no need to cover the back of the board. It's nice and flat and clean. You don't need to cover it with anything, okay? Just make sure that's just like that, nice and neat, okay? And there's our wreath. So now that I flipped it over, of course, now this is gonna be, you know, one of those wreaths that you adjust 1,000 times, especially before I go and take pictures. I'm gonna end up fluffing a million times here, but you know, you just wanna make sure that nothing got too flattened, and you know, it's just gonna look a lot cuter if it's not a bunch of flattened out ribbon. And even kind of more on this outside row here, I really want that ladybug ribbon to kind of stand out front and center. So I can even sort of pull it in front of these other two ribbons if I wanted to. They're kind of laying side by side right now, but I could do that too, okay? So, I don't mess with Mod Podge. I don't spray anything, honestly. It's not that I'm against spraying wreaths with things. I just, personally, I'm really hesitant to spray a bunch of stuff on a wreath, put it in a box, and send it to someone. I don't, you know, some people are very sensitive to smells, any kind of chemicals. I don't like doing it. If they want to test out spraying their wreath with something once they get it, that's on them, but I don't spray. I just don't. I don't like messing with it personally. I feel like that's more of a personal preference. Of course, if you're going to hang your wreath in direct sunlight, it's going to fade. If you want to put, you know, if my own wreaths, I will put some Scotch Guard, the water resistant color fading or less color fading, whatever it's called. I will do that on my own wreaths because I do it outside. I wait for it to fully dry and then I, doesn't have any lingering smell and then I hang it up. But here's our wreath. So sorry I was talking so much I didn't hang. Hold on. I did want to make sure. Here's the top. I did put the center on a certain way, but there it is. This is so cute. It was so easy to do. I know I had the first row done when I joined you, but again, they were 12-inch pieces. Okay. Yes, it'll definitely fit between two doors. Okay. Yeah, it's super cute. I'm really glad happy with how this came out. Like I said, I saw Lori do one on a large board a couple days ago, sometime last week, I think. And this is on a small board and it is, I'll tell you how many inches. What is that? Like 16 inches? I don't know. Why am I having a hard time with math? Like 17 inches. So it's not huge, but it's still, this is so cute for summer, really. And it would be cute on like hanging on a wall in a bedroom or something like that. Yeah, I did say I was going to tell you how many of each ribbon as well. Okay, so they're all 12-inch pieces. Okay, we have 3 different kinds. We use 2.5 and then 2 kinds of 1.5. 12 inches. All of them are 12 inches. So on row 1, I'll give you the counts. Not row 1. The first row that we did, which I did off camera, which is actually row 2 on the board, is a total of 24 pieces. And I did alternating. So I ended up doing 8 pieces of ladybug, 8 pieces of red, and 8 pieces of the black and white. So that's a total of 24 pieces on row 2. Row 3 was 8 pieces, and I just alternated red and the check. And then row 4, I just alternated the ladybug and the red, which was also 8 pieces. So in total, I used 12 pieces of ladybug ribbon. I used 16 pieces of red, and I used 12 pieces of black and white if you wanted to duplicate it. But like I said, if you only had 2 ribbons and alternated all of them, you could do that. Lots of options here. Kind of the possibilities are endless because there's really a endless possibility of ribbons and combinations that you can do. Okay, so 12-inch pieces. That came together pretty quickly because we've only been live for less than half hour. I've been talking a lot. And I had the first row already done when I joined you. And I want to say that took maybe add on like maybe not even 10 more minutes. Okay. For those of you that join late, just know that on row 2, it's the row 2 on the board, but the first row, I did add a little dab of glue. You can't see, I don't want to unfluff it, but I did add a little dab of glue where my little nubs were of my ribbon, just to make sure, because some of these, the distance of these holes is kind of a lot for this one little piece of ribbon. So I didn't want anyone to pull too hard on this and have it slide out of the zip tie. So I just put little dabs of glue and I let that dry, of course, before we went live. Okay, this will be available in my Etsy shop. I will have to get some pictures tomorrow in the good light because we're kind of past that point, but I will get this listed in my shop, and I appreciate everyone watching me today. Again, for those of you that are interested in the boards or any of the other materials I'm using, you can check out 2 things. One would be the Unique in the Creek website. There is a affiliate link in my pinned post on my Facebook page, so that'll take you to where you can get the boards. They sell ribbon, they sell poly burlap, they sell all kinds of tools and supplies. If you use my affiliate link, I do get a small commission, and I'm very appreciative for those of you that do use that link. And then for things like just the basics, zip ties, scissors, the zip tie gun, hot glue gun, any of that stuff that I use, you can find that in my Amazon affiliates shop, which is also in the pinned post. I would also encourage you to go ahead and subscribe to me on YouTube. For right now, all of my lives get saved on Facebook and also get put on YouTube. I always worry that someday Facebook will tell us they're not going to save our lives anymore or something like that. I don't know if that'll ever happen, but if it were to, that's why they all go on YouTube. And I do post things on YouTube that don't go on Facebook as well. So other tutorials and tips and things like that. But anyways, I talked a lot. Maybe because I'm having dental work done tomorrow, and I'm afraid I'm not going to be doing a whole lot of talking after that. So anyways, I'm just getting it all out today. But anyways, thank you again for watching me. And I appreciate you all for joining me and sticking with me. And hope to see you all try this out because it's very, very doable for even the beginning crafter. So take care, y'all. Have a great week coming up here, and see you all soon. Bye.